the Spookeasy. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jamie.
And we'll be your scare tenders this evening.
If you haven't crawled in here before, this is your new one-stop shop for all your horror needs. The drinks are strong.
But the scares are stronger.
All creatures of the night are welcome.
So pull up a stool, sink your fangs in, and let us serve up some of the best.
Or the worst this genre has to offer.
On tap today is Krampus.
How we were going to survive Christmas with 12 people stuck in a house with no heat and no electricity.
Or food.
There's plenty of leftovers, Howard.
Beer it is.
The hell's this?
St. Nicholas is not coming this year. Instead, a much darker, ancient spirit. His name is Krampus.
And we're going to be pairing it with, of course, a Krampus cocoa. That's a bit of Smirnoff vanilla vodka, peppermint schnapps, hot cocoa, and a topper of whipped cream.
Something the whole family can enjoy.
Where's the dog? I need to get Mary.
Not really. Don't drink, kids.
This was released December 5th, 2015. This was actually supposed to be released on November 25th to coincide with Krampusnacht. I think that's how I did it right, but
That's pretty good.
But it ended up getting pushed back. This was directed by Michael Dougherty, who obviously did Trick or Treat, and Godzilla, King of the Monsters, a bunch of other writing stuff. This was starring Adam Scott as Tom. He was kind of the holiday-worn Boy Scout brew of bravery and burnout, and he's just trying to keep Christmas on tap. He's from Parks and Rec, most recently Severance, and Step Brothers, the asshole brother.
Iconic.
Also, Toni Collette. She stars as Sarah. She's our tightly shaken, perfect Pinterest-level cocktail garnished with holiday stress and one too many household duties. She's obviously from Hereditary, one of my favorites, Knives Out, and Sixth Sense, which I kind of forgot about until we went back and watched it recently.
She's his mom.
Yeah, early one. This also has, I believe I'm going to say this right, but MJ Anthony as Max. He's our sweet seasonal spirit who's shattered Christmas cheer accidentally. He summoned something way stronger than your typical eggnog. And I knew he looked familiar. I couldn't place him. But he is in Chef with Jon Favreau. It's kind of like that indie where it's a father and son combo and they travel the world or the country. It's really good. Mobile food truck style movie.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also starring David Koechner as Howard. He's the loud, rough around the edges, overproof shot of holiday brown sauce. Mm-hmm. You obviously know him from The Office and Anchorman.
Yep. I forgot how funny he is in Anchorman.
Whammy! And this was Conchetta Ferrell as Aunt Dorothy. Sadly, she has passed, but she is that sharp, boozy pour of brutal honesty with a bite stronger than any Christmas cocktail. And she was obviously known for her part in 2.5 Men. Mm-hmm. So why don't you give us a quick little rundown of Krampus?
Right. As Christmas grows near, young Max tries to keep the holiday spirit alive, despite the not-so-nice obstacles that have been thrown his way. But the last straw is when his bratty cousins read his letter to Santa at the family dinner. Max rips the letter to shreds and throws it out his bedroom window. The strong winter winds send the pieces flying into the ominously dark sky. Family feuds and peppermint schnapps fuel this Christmas horror story of Krampus.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So let's get into our first sip. Now, this is our initial thoughts of the movie, spoiler-free. Mm-hmm. Personally, I thought this was a fun, over-the-top take on holiday horror from Michael Dougherty, who we saw tackle Trick or Treat, so another holiday. Did I have fun every time I watched this? Yes. But are there problems that I can find in this movie? Also, yes. It's tough. When you put the analytical goggles on, it does have a couple pieces there that you want to tweak, but it doesn't make it any less enjoyable to talk about. It's a quick, fast-paced, absurd movie. The characters are so hardly stereotypical, but it works.
It does.
Yeah.
My initial thoughts of Krampus are very positive. Again, this will be spoiler-free. This has become a rotation on my holiday horror watch list. This honestly has probably become one of my favorite horror movies to watch around Christmas time. I've forced myself to only watch it during this month because it just really gets me in the Christmas spirit while still having the essence of Halloween that we love so much. So for all the fun shenanigans and antics in this movie, it definitely still leaves for a good watch every time.
Now, I know we just started, but we are already flashing the lights. This is your last call. We are going to talk spoilers at this point.
Get it while it's hot.
If you haven't seen Krampus, now is your chance to settle up your tab and step outside.
For everyone else still at the bar, let's shake things up and dive in.
On the rocks or neat? This is where we discuss the good and the bad things. The neat being what worked perfectly as is, a smooth shot of whiskey. Or on the rocks, something that needs a little bit more to kind of make the drink complete. So something neat for me that I had was the characters are ridiculous. The personality traits are dialed to 11. You have to be okay with this exaggeration to enjoy it, but it's heavy-handed, but it's still fun. They're insane.
Got to keep the traffic jam going now.
Let me help you.
Oh, no, get that.
Phone? Dialysis?
Hey, Rose is a surprise. Hemorrhoids are a surprise. She is a goddamn nightmare. What were you thinking?
I just wanted Christmas to be like it used to be, but forget it. I hate Christmas! I hate all of you!
Kid deserves a prize just for telling the truth.
The dialogue is it's able to be very funny because the characters are portrayed that way. They're so vile and outspoken, and you get those great line deliveries because of how these characters are written. I liked how it was shot. This might hit home a little bit more for me coming from up north, but the blues, the darkness, it gives you that feeling of truly being snowed in a blizzard. It's got that cold chill down your spine just by looking at it, and they really translate from screen to feeling. The practical creature designs were fantastic. I loved all the little toys and boxes, all that. It was very Tim Burton-esque. My favorite has to be the Jack-in-the-Box, who's got the mouth that gives that strong, like, It vibes. It kind of slinks around the attic and gobbles up the children. He's probably my personal favorite, but shout out to the little mini robot. It kind of made me feel like we were in Small Soldiers.
The robot is fun.
Yeah. The meat and potatoes of this, the Krampus, I thought it was really good. Those initial shots of him leaping from house to house, that strong, powerful, like, crushing of the tiles on the roof, the little jingle bells, the snarls, I thought that all worked really well. It was pretty ominous. Kind of like Jaws. Like, you kind of see him, but you don't. It didn't give it all away immediately. I thought Omi's Krampus story in that stop motion was really well done. Very classic Christmas. I loved it. I thought it was kind of jarring at first because it was the first time we broke from live action, but it worked. The arrival of Krampus was really cool. The lights started to kind of flicker and the Here Comes Saint Nick, I think it was, started playing in the background. That was really, really cool. So what did you have for your neat?
For my neat, there was a lot with this one, but obviously, to dive in first to it, the cinematography just perfectly captures the nostalgia of old Christmas for me, even though, as Nick had mentioned, I didn't really get to experience a white Christmas, a winter Christmas, or any of that good stuff down here in Florida. It's what I still picture Christmas being like as a kid, and Michael Dougherty is such a way of bringing these holiday horror movies to life, and obviously we've seen his focus on trick-or-treat, and we've seen it with Krampus too, and just both of those worlds, even though they're so different, just make you feel like it's how you felt like when you were a kid reliving these holidays. The different shots, I know you had just mentioned it, the shots where Beth is trudging through the blizzard for some reason over to Derek's house because her mom and dad thought, hey, that'd be, you know what, it's
Great
fine,
idea.
it's fine, great idea. But those shots where she's walking through and it just keeps getting darker and darker outside and the wind keeps picking up, and then you see in the distance Krampus leaping from roof to roof was just, so cool and so chilling. And then, obviously I really thought it was fun, but the first snowman that you see outside the window that Max notices, and just that simple shot, it was like, who's building a snowman during a blizzard? And it's just those little things that really added to everything of it. But probably my favorite scene, kind of adds to the cinematography, but again, more the whole tone of it, was, I mentioned this the last time we were watching it too, but when they all fall asleep at night in the house and the fire is starting to go out and the embers are gently burning away and the iPod playing Silent Night finally dies, and then you could hear Krampus's bells jingling in the distance and the dog looking around knowing it hearing something, and it's just that feeling of when you were younger and you would go see the Christmas decorations and try to sneak a peek at your presents at night when no one was awake, and you really know you shouldn't be
sneaking at presents?
and
No
you
way.
Knew you really shouldn't be going down there. It's kind of what it made me feel, and I really enjoyed it. Another one was the the blend of comedy and horror. I'm notably not a fan of comedy and horror, and for some reason this just really, really worked for me. I don't know if it's just a bias because I enjoyed this movie as a whole, but I feel like the cheesy kind of jokes thrown here and there worked. There was a couple things that we'll probably get into for our next segment, but for the most part, I feel like a lot of it meshed together well.
Yeah. And speaking on that comedy, I didn't mention, but I did enjoy it because it let you knew exactly what movie you were watching. Was that ridiculous intro. The slow motion Black Friday shopping of it all, where people are getting tased. Yes. Max is in a fist fight during what looks to be like some sort of Christmas play. And it really was like, wait, I thought it was about Krampus. No, okay, yeah, no, we're starting it like this. It just reminded me of the scene of Jingle All the Way when everybody was trying to get their Turbo Man. He got two!
It's funny
get the mailman!
That you mentioned that too, because I had watched an interview or a review kind of taking some notes for this episode, and Michael Dougherty actually rented out a Best Buy during the holidays from one of the managers, whoever of the store, to get over-the-top crazy footage of all the guests coming in and stuff like that. So I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Last thing I kind of want to touch on, obviously I'm a sucker for a good score, and this one has a fantastic score. Douglas Pipes just did it again. We've seen him for the score in Trick or Treat. Also, the score for Monster House, the animated Halloween movie that I really enjoy. But again, just adds to that whole dark winter ambience of the film. And I was listening to the score a little bit before we recorded this episode, and just the twist up from classic Christmas music, just turning it that little bit of dark, really just changes the whole element of everything. Yep. So yeah.
And before we get to the next one, you mentioned one word, and it reminded me of a little fun tidbit. You said house. That initial shot of the house that we kind of stay in, every other house was added digitally.
I did read about that as well, which I thought was so funny, because you really wouldn't be like, it just looked like a bunch of dilapidated houses that maybe they did for a set.
Yep, the majority of this was shot in a soundstage.
The magic of the movies. What can I say?
On the Rocks. This is what I think needed a little bit more sharpening, chilling, and fixing to be served to us. The non-practical creatures, the gingerbread men. I know they are iconic, they are fun, but for me they stand out because they're CGI and everything else is these toy terrors. I know they're like everybody's favorite. I got them somewhere on the shirt right here. But it stood out. They were like too minion-y for me.
Yes.
It's like everything else is kind of like a scary thing, and these do stand out, I think sometimes kind of to a negative standpoint. The PG-13 rating for this movie, I think it hurt it a little bit. It forced the film to kind of tiptoe and toe the line of comedy or horror, and I think it necessarily didn't favor one or the other, but it felt more comedy than horror, which I'm not opposed to, but I could do with some more intense scares. And with how good these creature toy designs were, I wanted to see like the elves come in and do more, but they sort of just like come in like, ooh, da, 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 and they're just like in your face, and I was like, it reminded me of The Righteous Gemstones season 1 with like the devil guy. He's like, hey, party boy.
I love the elves. I think they're so funny.
The designs are really
Which they
cool.
shouldn't be, but
but that PG-13 aspect where we're like, no, we can't get too scary, I think it hurt it. When Aunt Dorothy gets taken, and it's like a whoop, like a very comical, like
a cartoon.
Why is that? Who put that in there?
Yeah.
It stood out.
See you in hell! Twisted fairy tale horse shit! Oh, great!
The face of Krampus for me did not like it. I liked everything else except him. I wish they stuck to the like goat style versus like a Gene Simmons kiss. I know that they wanted it to not necessarily be classic Krampus. They wanted it to be more of like a shadow of Santa. So they made him like an evil Santa versus a like Krampus. But it came off a little silly for me. I wanted it to be more grotesque, not just like
kind of like the Insidious lipstick demon tongue kind of guy.
Little silly.
Little silly.
When
you see his face zoomed in.
For me, the ending accelerated too quickly. We lose some characters sparingly, like through the first 2 acts, but then in a span of, I think, the last 10 to 15 minutes, the rest, the 95% of the rest of the cast is just gone and done away with. It felt like it wasn't paced properly, and they didn't want to extend the runtime, so we're like, get rid of everybody. And that was just kind of where we ended things. What did you have for On the Rocks?
Well, I'm glad you ended with that because that was going to be my first topic for this. Even though I did not have many negatives to say about this movie, or there wasn't too many things that I thought needed to be on the rocks or were on the rocks, I did believe the pacing was a little too quick for me, especially for someone who doesn't even really like movies that are usually an hour and a half longer. But I do feel like they kind of sped it up a little bit at the end. I liked the ending in itself, but I feel like there could have been a little more substance to it before that, maybe 25 minutes or so, nothing crazy. I also thought, too, that a lot of the characters didn't really get any redemption. We lost Beth pretty early on. We lost Howie Jr. pretty early on, which, I mean, he didn't really do too much for the movie anyways.
He didn't say anything.
He didn't really say anything.
Fucking drooling in the corner.
Gingerbread and got turned into a snowman. But I know it somewhat explains it at the end, what happens to them, and if they all made it. I mean, obviously it didn't, but they're living in this perfect snow globe world now.
Krampus's lair.
Krampus's lair, which I really love that aspect. But this is what is on the rocks. We already went over the good stuff. Another thing for me was you kind of mentioned the look of Krampus, which personally I do like the goat look for Krampus too. I just think it's a little more scarier in my opinion. The one thing that I really thought was a little cheesy, and like I said, the cheesy kind of worked in this, when the street opened up into like the pits of hell, and then all the elves and minions and everyone was surrounding, and Krampus was coming and dragging everyone to hell. I was like, are we watching This Is the End now, or is this Krampus? I mean, that's what it just reminded me of.
It was like a party.
It was such an odd, I don't want to say it's an odd thing to add, because I get where he was going with the whole story and everything like that, whatever, but I feel like it just didn't like match up well for how the whole movie was. Other than that, I mean, I didn't really have too many negatives for Krampus. I usually enjoy a lot of the holiday horror movies, and this was definitely one that didn't have too many bad notes for me.
All right, closing time. Get our final thoughts out there. While there's definitely issues, albeit small, it remains a Christmas staple. Every year since it came out, it's been played in my household, our household, and it's gonna continue to play every single year. It's a classic, like you said. If it's Christmas time, it's going on. It's harmless, and it always leaves me satisfied.
I think that's a really great point, honestly. I mean, you hit every nail on the head. I was going to say my positives for Krampus greatly outweigh the negatives, and that should say enough. Like Nick said, it's easily become one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's a fun watch that'll get me in the Christmas spirit while still giving me those Halloween vibes as well. And you just, every time, like I said, I try to force myself to only watch it a couple times in December and not throughout the rest of the year, so I really get into that Christmas mood, and just every time, man, I feel like I've watched it 4 times in the last couple days, and I've loved it every time. It's just so much fun every time.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into our Fear and Beer ratings. This part you all remember.
You guys know this one.
Fear rating, scale 1 through 5 on how scary this film is, and a beer rating on 1 through 5 of how much you enjoy this film. So, Jamie, what was your fear rating for Krampus?
My fear rating for Krampus was a 2.
2? Mm-hmm. I match your 2. I thought the design of everything, creatures, character, setting, everything was fine. But again, it did lean more into that comedy, so there wasn't much scare factor, I'd say. But your beer rating, how much you enjoyed this film, where does Krampus land for you?
Wait until you hear this one. I give Krampus 5 out of 5 beers on my beer rating.
Starting out the Spookeasy strong.
We are. Nothing's changed, obviously.
Yeah. Nope.
Real good reviews.
I'm pretty damn close. 4.5 for me. That's where Krampus lands. It's pretty...
I feel like that's one of the best ratings you've given something recently in my time of
seeing
it from you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely is. So we have to pick. Is this a bottom of the barrel movie, which is just no bueno?
Not good.
Well, which is serviceable. It's fine. It'll do in a pinch. Or is this top shelf? Is this, the cream of the crop, what you reach for at the top? Where do you put Krampus? I think we have to agree on this one. Where would you put it?
I'm going to say, for me, personally, I think Krampus would have to go top shelf.
Yeah, I can agree. Okay. Goes on the top.
I was like, no way, Krampus would be a well.
No, it's got to be top shelf. Now that Krampus is 86th, you don't have to go home, but you cannot stay here.
Thanks for stopping by the Spookeasy.
Come back soon, see what spirits we pour up next, and if you want to leave us a tip, 20%. Just hit that like and subscribe button. You don't gotta pay us, but let people know what's up.
Santa Claus is coming to town.